Hello and welcome. You've joined us on Too Sharp with ET and I'm Nisha Poddar. Let's get you the two most important developments for today that you must know about. So Trump backs off Powell firing, but Fed pressure mounts and IMF flags recession risk, urges central bank independence. Markets breathe easy as Trump de-escalates tension regarding the firing of the US Federal Reserve's chairman, Jerome Powell. Now, Trump says that he has no intention of firing the Fed chair, and this comes just days after Trump called Powell a major loser on social media and hinted that he would remove him very fast. Now, those weekend attacks had rattled the financial markets, triggering a sharp sell-off on Monday. But with Trump's Tuesday reversal, Wall Street rebounded fast. S&P 500 futures rose nearly 2% in after-hours trade. Still, the drama affected the rate expectations. Fed futures now price in 3 rate cuts this year, down, remember, from 4 earlier. Even though Powell's job looks safe for now, Trump isn't backing off his demand for lower interest rates. So Trump argues that with falling prices for food and energy, inflation is no longer a major concern. But the Fed chair has warned that Trump's sweeping tariffs could really make things more complex, raising inflation even as they slow growth. So Powell reiterated this week that the Fed would act based on data and would remain independent of political pressure. Now, this is a relief, but what's also helped is that the trade talk optimism lifts the markets overall. Now, the Oval Office presser that Trump signaled a softer tone on China tariffs is a big relief. He said the current 1.5% effective tariff rate won't stay that high, but added that it won't be zero either. So Trump hinted that a deal with China could include substantially lower duties. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also told investors that the goal is rebalancing trade, not a full decoupling from China. Together, these remarks on the Fed as well as tariffs helped restore some investor confidence, especially after Monday's turmoil. IMF flags recession risk, urges the central bank independence. So IMF cuts the US growth forecast sharply, and the International Monetary Fund, remember, has issued its clearest warnings yet. So the US faces a rising risk of recession as Trump's trade war intensifies and global demand cools. In its new World Economic Outlook, the IMF cuts its US growth forecast for 2025 from 2.7% to just 1.8%. It's a major downgrade. Global growth was also trimmed to 2.8%, down from 3.3% last year. So IMF's chief economist said that the probability of a US recession has now risen to nearly 40%, up from 25% earlier this year. Now, alongside the growth warning, the IMF's global financial stability report flagged a sharp rise in the market risks. The report says that Trump's stop-start tariff policy has caused a tightening of global financial conditions. Bond yields have surged, equity markets have wobbled, and vulnerable economies now face much higher borrowing costs. IMF financial counselor said that the impact is greatest on high debt countries and fragile markets, which now risk a sovereign risk. On the burning issue, IMF also weighed in on Trump's pressure campaign against the Fed chair. It warned that central bank independence is essential for managing both inflation and financial stability. Now, the fund also called on countries, including the US, to maintain the credibility of their institutions, especially during global shocks. A word also on the timing of this warning coming in. It comes just as economic leaders gather in Washington for the IMF World Bank spring meetings. So the World Bank President Ajay Banga He said that uncertainty and volatility are really slowing the business confidence. Fitch Ratings also cut its US Q4 2025 forecast by half a percentage point to just 0.4% YOY. Of the G20 nations, only Turkey, Argentina, and Russia saw growth upgrades. So the IMF said that without a change in trade policy, the risks of broader global instability would continue to rise. So these are the issues at the current moment, and the trade war escalation, de-escalation, and various factors are something to keep on your radar. With that, it's a wrap on Too Sharp with ET. And if you found it informative, do hit the like button. Thanks so much.